This is the magicwordpodcast.com.
We are now beginning day 3 and walking over to the convention center. Just had breakfast, had a nice little walk. Beautiful weather here this morning, and it is perfect, probably about, 75 degrees or something. And so I am with past international president Alex Zander right now, who is from Vancouver. So here we are. Hey, Alex.
Hey, how are you, Scott?
Fantastic. Thanks for welcoming us to your country.
Absolute pleasure. Really thrilled to be here with FISM for the first time in North America and of course in my own home country of Canada. So quite proud to be here, and je suis fier d'être bilingue and proud to be bilingual in a time like this.
So what was, now that this is all happening, I imagine it's kind of like a dream come true. I mean, you're a young guy, and this will happen again in your lifetime of having it in North America, I'm sure. But what were some of the expectations you had leading up to this?
Well, you're right. With a strong event like this, it's absolutely an anticipation that we hope and expect to have FISM return to North America once again. It's been a wonderful success to be able to have so much of our North American Magic family experience FISM for the first time. So that's been really, really great. A couple highlights so far has been the opening night show. High caliber of some of the contest acts that, of course, many of us come from around the world to see. And in no time like the present, as many of us have spent so long not being able to reunite with our Magic family, obviously there's a huge value in being able to finally once again see all of our friends and come together and do some great Magic. So I'm really enjoying my time at my first FISM.
Have you spent any time at the Magic Jam with our Paul Wilson and those guys downstairs after 2?
I wish. I've struggled myself with some of the schedule. I want to try and elevate and prize the contest and make sure I can get them, which is why I'm walking here with you at an ungodly hour of the morning, despite the last lecture stopping at, I guess, 1:30 or 1 or so.
Yeah,
yesterday.
That was Alexandra Duvivier.
Yeah, exactly. So I was there, and she did great as well. But it is a packed schedule. But you're right. We've just gone the other way. So
we just missed our door.
I think so. But everyone is walking that way.
You think? I think they're going in that way. Okay.
We're starting stage contest this morning. So yes, we are in the correct direction.
Okay, let's follow the crowd. I followed the crowd yesterday, and they were not going the right way. Went down a dead end, went way out of my way. Didn't want to do that again.
It's a risky run for sure. It is a labyrinth of a convention.
So the contests have been pretty good so far. I mean, not pretty good. I mean, if they stopped yesterday, there could have been winners.
I believe that is true, and everything that I've learned suggests we're only going up from there as well. So quite excited for the contest as we walk now into the main gala showroom.
How many seats would you say are here?
A phenomenal question.
Probably 2,000?
I would say maybe just a bit under, because it does seem at capacity when we are all in.
And there's 1,775 of us.
I think that's right, yeah. So you're probably right in that margin with a little bit of flex. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Alex, thank you again for hosting us in your wonderful country. I've enjoyed getting a sightseeing tour on the bus, double-decker, on Sunday when I first arrived, and so I'm going to stick around for another day to check out the city. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, you're a smart man, Scott. Very well done. Enjoy the food and culture that Quebec has to offer, the architecture and all the wonderful people. There's a lot of fun here to be had. And if you're missing FISM this year, make sure to come back and join us next time it's in North America, or just come up for a fun trip to Canada. Come hang out with me and the Canadian Magic family. We will all show you a good time from east to west.
And if you're wanting to attend the next FISM, if you didn't hear yesterday's podcast, it has been announced and the vote is in, and it is
Italy in 2025.
In Torino.
Correct. So come join us.
That'll be fun. So with the Magic Word Podcast, that was Alex Zander. This is Scotty out. We just finished the first half of the stage competition here this morning. I'm taking just a short break, and while we're doing that, I thought I would talk with someone who you may have heard recently on a recent episode, Mr. Master Payne. Sorry to say Mr. Payne Feifel, but Master Payne. Hey, Payne, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. It's a long walk from the hotel that I had to stay at to get here, but I'm doing fine. Exercise is doing me good.
Maybe you should be sitting in a chair all night.
Yeah, I need a wheelchair would be really great. I threw my back out last Thursday, which was not good. So, but I'm getting better.
No good. I don't like to hear that. But what I do want to hear is what how you've been enjoying the convention so far.
Oh, great! It's everything pretty much everything I was expecting. I was hoping to have a little bit more robust of a dealer's room, but I heard there was a lot of problems with lost luggage and customs and things. But it's a good dealer's room, but it was not. I was sort of hoping to find something interesting to buy, and I haven't found that one thing yet. So,
have you been working with Jack McBride? I know he has his mystery school here. Are you doing something with him here?
Yeah, I'm doing my coin and bottle today at 2:00 in the mystery school annex. So I can actually say I've performed at FISM. So.
Yeah, it counts. It counts.
It counts. It's just like performing at the Wonderground. He says, "I've performed in Vegas." Well, it's Henderson, but it's not really Vegas. But then Vegas really isn't Vegas. If you perform on the Strip, that's not Vegas. That's another city altogether. So
yeah. So have there been any contestants that you've seen close up or stage so far that you think are worthy of competition, or not competition, but of winning so far?
Oh yeah, the one that I saw that impressed me the most. I can't remember his name, but he did the tribute to Rene Lavande he had the 2 billiard balls, and he just kept throwing one away, and it ended up with 2, all with one arm behind his back, and the hand moving, so he couldn't get any more load. So it was very impressive. That was, and then I like the Australian guy with the condom over his head, and that was very funny. Not exactly FISM material, but it's funny. I'll always go. And if I ever entered FISM, I would enter something funny. I would never win, but then
It's just your style.
It's just my style. It's just my style. And I guess somebody was saying that you can't do a one-trick set. I guess, but then wouldn't the billiard balls? That's just one trick. I don't quite understand the definition of what is one trick. So, but since I'm the guy that does the 17-minute long, coin and bottle routine and only put the coin in once, they probably wouldn't.
But if it is for invention, I would think you could do one trick if it is just something you're trying to win for creativity, invention, or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I guess if you're doing invention or maybe the comedy magician has different rules than the close-up. I never have actually read the rules, but they are quite complex, and
they are, and they're ever changing also.
Yeah. So,
is this your first FISM, or have you been before?
This is the first one because it's on the continent, and I have this problem of let's go to Sweden to a magic convention. Why? Well, let's just go to Sweden. Why would I? I did international magic a few years ago, and that was, I don't know, I'm sitting there going, I'm in London, but I'm sitting backstage in a dingy theater waiting to go on. But by the time I'm in London, there's so much more to do here than sit in the back. My wife went with me, and she did all the tourist stuff, so she got to go to Harry Potter Land. I didn't get to go to Harry Potter Land.
That is something I would love to do one day, too.
Yeah, she says it was really great. So,
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the convention. It's good to see you as well.
Yeah, no, great to see you. Always great to see you. So.
Enjoy the rest of FISM, and we will see you soon.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. So for the Magic Word the Master Word, the Magic Word Podcast. That was Master Payne. We set the standard there with yesterday's full report, basically, of what had happened. And so today we are going to continue with Marc DeSouza, doing a little color, and as he had, as I mentioned yesterday, had quite copious notes on everything. But also, I think we need to start a little bit with where we were last evening as far as the show. We had a great gala to begin with.
The opening gala really set a new standard for FISM. It was unbelievable. It was like watching an opening ceremony for the Olympics.
I felt like I was in Tokyo or something.
Yeah, and I think there was a great Cirque du Soleil influence on a lot of the acts that we saw.
Yes.
Very different. Not a lot of magic acts. There were a bunch of variety acts. There were not many magic acts at all.
Cirque-type acts, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, magic-wise, Dean Gunnarsson did a straightjacket escape, but the culmination of the show was Miguel Munoz, who was the Grand Prix winner, doing his water act. That was
a good way to finish.
Absolutely perfect, and bringing it back to magic.
But the reason we're going into detail a little bit about that is to compare that with the standard or the bar that was set for future shows for the evenings.
Right.
So
and I think people come to FISM, they want to see the booked acts, they want to see the artists that have been booked for the shows. But I think the focus really is far more on the competition and seeing the new acts that they haven't seen.
Right.
So last night's show was a little uneven. I thought it was great that they brought in Greg Fruin to MC the show.
I disagree.
And
I thought it was great they brought him in to perform, but they could have brought in a professional.
I would agree with you
Britton
there.
Or somebody.
Right. And there's so many people here who are great MCs. Greg basically just, short introductions to the acts, no filler in between.
Which was the problem they did have.
Exactly, because they did have some technical problems. But it was so good that Greg opened the show with the 94 FISM winning act.
Right.
And it's interesting because the last time I was in Quebec City was for IBM in 1992, and I competed in both stage and close-up, and I came in second to Greg Fruin, who took first. And I took second in close-up also to Steve Harrison. So Quebec City has great memories for me. But it was great, and Greg said he hadn't done the act in 8 years.
He did it flawless.
And
it
was flawless. It was absolutely beautiful. They had a French-Canadian performer named Luc Langevin, who did an act that wasn't magic. It was like balancing stuff. It's kind of reminiscent of Joshua Jay's trick, balance, but with big stage props. And, I looked at it and it was like, well,
you know, by the audience reaction. It was kind of like,
it was flat.
Yeah.
And I think if a lay person saw it, I don't think they'd consider it magic or even magical. Mm-hmm. And it really left the audience wasn't a good reaction. And my comment was, boy, that's a lot of stuff to carry for much of nothing.
That's a good point.
There's a lot of props on stage.
He got polite applause.
Yeah. Topaz was on the show. Topaz did two spots. One, he did his music group routine, which is a mime thing to music. Really funny, really clever, good entertainment. And that's really reflective of the direction he's gone in, because he's doing a lot of stand-up comedy now. Not even magic. He does a lot of stand-up comedy. He really loves that. We had Bon Lee from Hong Kong, who did a nice manipulative act with a snowman theme and billiard balls.
Did he travel with the Illusionists for a while, or am I confusing him with
No, I don't. Yeah, Lu Chen. No. Yuho Jin.
Yuho Jin
traveled. Yeah. And we had Jackie Yu.
Love him.
Love Jackie Yu. Oh my! Wonderful personality. But I'll tell you, that opening routine was not what I expected out of Jackie Yu, the routine with the sperm.
Okay.
Pictures of sperm, and then he does a squirmel with it. A really funny idea, but it just didn't seem at all like Jackie.
Yeah.
But then he went into, some of the routines he's more known for. Very, very good stuff. And Xavier Mortimer, who's one of the Las Vegas acts now, and he came on. First routine he did in front of the curtain. Very nice routine. Second one, his mirror routine, and they had a lot of technical difficulties. They had to start it three times to get to get it to work. So.
It's a beautiful thing, but very technical.
Yeah. And the show closed with Fruin coming back and doing his shrouded transposition illusion. Very nice. Oh, and he did another illusion as well, I believe.
He did the escape. He did a metamorphosis.
Well, that was the shrouded transposition.
I'm sorry.
That's called shrouded transposition. He did another. Oh, he produced Macaw.
He did.
Real nice routine. Yeah. And the macaw flew around
and stuff.
Yeah. The macaw flew back. Very nice. So that was the show last night. I don't know what you did, but I went after the show. I went to see David Venn talking about Vernon.
Vernon. We don't want to overlook that particular, because the night before we had Will Howson talking about Professor Hoffman.
Yep.
And then for him to talk last night about Vernon, who of course was from Canada.
Of course.
Native and.
Wonderful presentation on Vernon's life and his magic, and really brought a lot of things into focus, and bringing it into contemporary times and talking about who was influenced by Vernon specifically.
Exactly, and interesting to see that map that he had.
Yes,
of saying
and it was wonderful because I was sitting next to Mike Amar.
Yeah, I know.
So we're making comments to each other as David's talking. And it's, at one point, David said something, and Mike said, "Well, that's not exactly how it happened." It's It's very funny. So that's a story for you to talk to
Yes.
Mike about, not me.
And then after that was Alexandria Duvivier.
Alexandre
Gave a little lecture.
Duvivier, who I did not see. I was crashing. I had to go to bed.
I was busy working on this podcast for you listeners.
And,
Went
yeah,
back
and
there.
actually, I had to go back to my. I had some business stuff to do. I don't do magic full time, so there were a few things
When
I
are
had
you
to
going to
take.
retire, mister?
I'm not.
Okay, there you go. When you own the business.
Why?
Yeah. You're
Why?
having fun, right?
Why? Yeah, I still enjoy it. It's just, I'll just need to take more time off now and then. But anyway.
So today we started off with the stage contest,
competition, which
and so let's
was,
talk a little bit about some of that.
Yeah. So I thought there were some real good, strong acts. Not all winners, but I think it was a good variety of stuff. We opened with Jan Euro, who was a very funny, very entertaining medalist, who did a routine with 5 easels and 5 pictures.
Right.
And it looks like he's screwed up everything, and yet in the end everything turns out perfect.
Right.
And it was really just his interplay with he brought up Eric Leclerc from the audience, and just the interplay between the two of them was really, really great. The second act was Filberto Silvi, or Selvi actually, portrayed a street musician with a violin.
Very beautiful.
And it was coins, coins, bills, and a gold brick at the end, or 2 gold bricks that he produced.
But it kind of told a little story then also about how he was busking basically, and he was getting money. I think it
And
told
then
us
the money disappeared, but eventually he got his violin back. There was amazing visible disintegration of both the violin and the bow.
Yeah.
It looked like CGI. It was incredible looking.
Well, there was something, in fact, that whenever he threw this little light, and then I wonder if he had a scrim in front of that or something. That projected
yeah, I don't
something.
know, but it was great work. With not only the delights, but also I think it was projection of the light image that came back to him, and then he reproduced a lit violin and a lit bow.
Yes, but I thought it was like a morality play from the
It
standpoint.
was, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I will say, from a technical standpoint, it did highlight something for me that has been rampant through the stage competitions and even the close-up competitions. There are so many competitors that they don't have adequate time to tech. I think they give them like 10 minutes to tech.
Right?
And some of these acts, so many of these acts, are using thread work and black art, and it's very, very difficult to light a property, and everybody errs to dark, and you can't see the stuff.
No, and good point. That was a problem with at least half dozen people today.
Exactly. So I
Close-up
think
and
it would be. I think it would be, for anybody who's competing, I think it's good for them to get in advance the lighting that they have here, understand what they have to work with, and work with somebody that can help them professionally design the lighting that will highlight their act, so to speak,
right.
And not work in the dark. And it's difficult for watching it live, and it's more difficult for watching it on the screen. There was a Japanese act, Moramichi, they were in comedy, and they did an illusion with a cardboard box where one of the members, one of the pair got inside, sealed it up, and put all these umbrellas through.
Kind of like Hands Moretti.
Yeah, but this version, I think it's Andrew Main's version. He published it, and other people do it. The Beckers do it on the ships and stuff.
And at the end, the box is full of balloons.
And at the end, that's the twist they had. But they were in the comedy category, and I found nothing funny about the act. Other than that, at one point, the box kind of looks like it's rising up, and the
walking.
person inside, it was his legs coming out.
Yeah.
So, that was the only funny moment in a comedy act. Not so great. They were followed by Luco Marchetelli, who the set was a workshop. There was a guy working in a workshop, and it was time for his coffee break, and he had a circular saw that was plaguing him that fell apart and put back together. Well, one thing I will say about him, he had great timing. He worked really well with his soundtrack, but it's an act that didn't have a lot of great magic.
Fell flat, no?
Yeah, needed a lot of work. He was followed by Francesco Della Bona. I was really impressed with this young man. Beautiful, beautiful act. It starts off with a pocket watch, and it's a clicking soundtrack. And
his timing is perfect with the music.
Absolutely,
too.
Absolutely.
Tick, tock, tick.
Yeah, and it
was
changed
brisk.
tempos.
Yeah. It did.
Yeah, so he worked very well with the music, but he did some of the most amazing ball, single ball, and card work. It was a white ball changing to a white card, back and forth. And then they started, the cards started more and more. He had some incredible visual vanish. I mean, a card was right in front of him, and it was just gone. He had one point a card that he let go, and it floated in front of him and visibly vanished without hands on. It was just stunning. I would love to see him, win something, but I think, another FISM or two, he'll be really in the running. He was followed by Pierre Spirey, who I thought did a very good act. He comes out with shopping bags, and he's waiting in a taxi stand. And the whole thing was themed so well with stuff that he'd purchased, and so many surprises, so colorful. It was a terrific act. It's very original, but he had a great finish that unfortunately he had technical difficulties with, because he kind of assembled everything, and the shopping bags became a car that he was driving off.
And he got in, and he was waving goodbye, and then
it just went for about 5 feet and then stopped.
Yeah.
So,
we got the point. Had it gone dark.
We got the
but
point.
There was something else
supposed
to have happened, I think, with that taxi cab sign or something.
Yeah. But at that point, it was kind of too late for the act, but he had already won our hearts. I mean,
That's a good point.
He really endeared himself to us
personality
quickly.
Broke the fourth wall. Yeah.
Absolutely great. And the first half was finished by Massimo Rossi with an act that I don't think anyone understood, even himself. It was this looked like a mirror structure of some sort.
I don't get that. He kept producing shards
of
glass,
mirrors.
mirrors.
Shards of mirrors. So this thing collapsed, and then he started producing shards of mirrors. Again, this was in the comedy category, and I think if you're in the comedy category, you should actually be funny. He wasn't.
No.
There was nothing funny. And he just kept producing various shards of glass over and over again.
There wasn't any variation of
No
that.
variation. Nothing. He had one that appeared, and then he kind of swung it around the back of his neck. Maybe that was supposed to be funny.
Okay.
But it was just annoying.
And at the end,
the structure built back up, and then he walked off stage, and it followed him off stage.
Yeah.
So, So the second half was opened by his daughter.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Gaia. His daughter Gaia Rossi. Very high energy young girl. I think she's the head of the Boris Wilde fan club because her whole act was producing cards with kisses on them.
Oh, that's
and then jumbo cards with kisses and big discs with kisses on them.
I thought either that or Connie Boyd.
It could be. But I thought, it was an okay act, nothing special, but, younger kid that got a lot of time ahead of her, and she had great energy and great personality on stage, so that was fun. She was followed by Doc 3J, who came out as a Doc Brown character from Back to the Future.
Spoke primarily in French.
Spoke primarily French, and it's difficult to do a mental act in French when you're in front of an international audience. And he did something with time and a date, which...
In video.
Yeah, it didn't go anywhere until the end when he showed the video. That was a revelation of everything that was chosen. The time, the date, the name of the person who assisted him, and that was a great payoff, but it just took too much to get there, and by that time nobody cared.
Right.
Followed by Ricky Chang.
Well, he tried to also get the audience involved, saying, pull out your calculators, and
yeah.
do that. And that was very confusing, and I think people are looking at each other, because he's speaking French also.
Yeah, and he pulls out his license plate as part of the calculation. And,
right. It was very confusing.
Very confusing. Followed by Ricky Chang, who did a bartender act. Nice set piece.
Yeah.
A lot of productions of bottles. The one critique I will say, if you're going to produce bottles, handle them like they're real.
Like they're real. They seem very lightweight, and
Exactly.
he just kind of put them around and flipped them around, and they look like they were half shells and whatnot.
A magician is an actor, so learn to act with them, and but he had some very, very nice ideas. A few good moments, but not enough of them. He was followed by one of the acts of the convention, in my opinion, Morten Christensen. Remember this name, Morten Christensen from Denmark. This very unassuming guy walks out, and his whole persona and the thing was about, I don't really remember things that I do. Did I do this already? And it just built and built and built. Even if he wasn't funny, the magic was stunning in it. And he's working with all this on stage is a chair. I mean, it's just incredible design of the act. And it's things with cards, socks, fruit, his shoes. His hat.
His pocket.
Yeah. Oh, the vanishing pocket. Oh, my God. Oh. But it's by the time he got there, it's like every beat, something happens that you're just not expecting. And you just miss the next thing. He ends up with 5 watches appearing on his arm. I mean, it's just an incredible act.
My comments were how that he reminded me of Rick Merrill.
Yeah.
Because Rick had this kind of thing about homeschooling and everything. And this guy was talking about how he has such a short-term memory. So the second thing is about being a movie buff that I am, the movie Memento.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Was what that reminded me of.
Sure.
Because, now, did I just tell you guys this? I don't remember if I said, because he didn't say I'm repeating myself.
It was like this repeat, he takes the deck of cards out of the box. And he says, did I do that already? And now the deck is the box again.
Yeah.
And he must have done that 5 times. I mean, it just got more and more baffling.
Yes.
It was just, that was one of the hits of the convention.
It's a name to remember.
Absolutely. He was followed by a young fellow named Nikolai Streibel, manipulator from Germany who manipulates paper airplanes and playing cards. Mm-hmm. Beautiful act. Yeah. Really nicely done.
A little different.
Very different. I think he's out of the Eberhard Riese stable, as we call it.
I believe that he was a sponsor.
Yeah, and shows a lot of promise, but good act, not a prize winner. And the morning session was closed by Ding Yang, which, if you've seen the act, I don't have to say anything.
If you've seen her at Magic Live.
Or SAM.
Yeah. Now, she was at Magic Live a few years ago, and then returned with this act, which had a different background.
Yeah.
Originally, it was more of an industrial metal kind of a hoop that she was focused in.
Yeah,
with
this is a little more artistic.
Yeah, more artistic, and it reminded me more of a forest scene, like she was a fairy, and with little lights. It made sense.
And that goes with the character much better. But this is a woman in tight black clothing producing birds in impossible ways.
And she was a Chinese acrobat.
Yes, and that's, she uses that in her act. At one point, she does a handstand, and a fountain of silks appears on her feet, and a dove appears.
The other foot has a mask on it.
The other foot has a mask on it, and then the mask, she takes the mask, and a dove appears on that foot. So 2 doves on her feet.
A double dove production with your feet.
Yeah, it's stunning. But I mean, even putting the novelty of that aside, just the concepts of what she's doing, and just the artistic look of everything. I mean, she moves beautifully. The music is great. Yeah. I mean, this is an act that will be on the finals.
Definitely.
If not Grand Prix. I mean, I think she's got a great chance at Grand Prix. So then we go to the close-up contest.
We had a little lunch break, and then...
and strong acts today.
Yeah.
Terrific acts. Young man named Cedric Fowler opened up, who did a whole routine with an iPhone and an iPad and coffee and a signed corner of a card appearing in a chosen capsule of coffee, and then he produces the coffee maker. It's a magic convention competition act. It's not an act you're going to work anywhere. But for magicians, it's the kind of stuff we eat up.
Yeah, he's got to be loaded back behind that table with everything, and the iPad he's using has a little handle on the back that he can kind of hold it. And
but there's
so many interactive things he does with it.
I happen to be backstage after the act, and boy, there's a lot of stuff. Very, very technical. I say it was backstage because I was asked to assist Adrian Vega, who was the next competitor. Adrian and I have been friends for a bunch of years, and he wanted me to kind of be his assistant from the audience just because he felt comfortable with me. And Adrian did a great act. He did. He has a number of card transposition, a running theme of cards turning to jokers. Whole deck turns to jokers. The payoff of it is a signed card, real signed card, appearing in a glass bottle full of pills, which you take for magic addiction.
Yeah.
And the card is really in the bottle. It's a real-time thing that, boom, it's really quick, the method. And he's got to break the bottle to get the card out.
I know he'd been working on that for a long time.
Yeah. He had been at my house probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, when he was, I had him on the lecture tour because he was at my house then also, and took some time. In fact, the opening trick that he did, he calls my opening tricks, and my opener, which my opener. I do too. I used that when I was working in Vegas.
But he had tipped the card and bottle to me, which is brilliant. But he improved
well, you look
it.
astonished as a volunteer.
Oh, that's my job. Like Sean Parker says, it's my job.
It's my job.
It's my job. He was followed by Olmec, Oliver Massia from France. Rapid fire visual card magic banishes reproductions. As I always say, every move, a move.
Is a move.
Yes. He was followed by a guy named Miraver, who did some of the most incredible dice stacking I have ever seen. It wasn't just dice stacking. It was magical things that happened while he's stacking dice. And he got a standing ovation. I mean, it was just astonishing.
Yeah, I was sitting next to Craig Mitchell, and I'm not a fan of dice stacking, nor is he. However, I felt like that the way that he progressed, it got more and more unbelievable from the standpoint that I was thinking, well, it'd be really cool if he could have these all stacked up and they're in the same order as far as the numbers, and then he did. It's like, holy cow!
Yeah, it was like the best dice stacking act I've seen, and I've been a dice stacking fan for decades.
Well, you knew Zach.
I knew Zach, sure, Jim Zachary, and and I've done it, done dice stacking. And there's a young guy in Philly who was a great dice stacker, and Anyway, next hack was a German magician named Mello competing in parlor magic, and the whole act was themed around Polaroid pictures. And he had some really fine effects, visual effects with it, as well as basically an impossible printing of a Polaroid taken right there, predicted in advance. It was just
and he was a young guy. I'm going to say 23.
Oh, very, very young guy. Very young guy. Very good. And he was followed by Marcobe from France, who had people leaping to their feet.
That's a name to remember, too.
Oh, my God. This guy comes out, and he's just like so casual, like almost looking confused. And he says, there's people sitting at the table, says, was it okay if I sit here?
Yeah.
What a great opening.
That's a great opening. It told you a lot about him.
Well, and he brings out the cards, and he's like a little fumbly, and you're like, what's this guy doing here? And then he's getting more and more fumbly, and you realize you're being had. This is a guy that makes Leonard Green look like Channing Pollock.
Yeah.
It's like chaos beyond chaos. It is just incredible. And the stuff he was doing was so impossible.
Yeah.
The revelations, the people just stopping him anywhere, the card, and there's the card, and there's like no slight going on at that point. It's a do or die.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
just having them select the queens, and they just touch it, and they're right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was unfailing.
Well,
It was
I said
stunning.
that he is, if Leonard Green and Chad Long had a child, that could be it.
There you go. I mean, he opens up a bag of chips and starts handing out chips.
You might want a little snack here. You want a Kit Kat?
It's great. Made me hungry for a Kit Kat.
Yeah.
He was followed by Perry Raffitz, who did a very clever act with repeat productions of card boxes. Over and over. He takes out a deck, there's another box. I mean, when I say another box,
like
another
11
box.
or 12 boxes?
Oh, no. It was a lot more than that.
Okay.
It was about 30 boxes by the time he was done. And then cards are selected, and he taps the cards on the table, and all the pips fall to one side, which is a Tommy Wonder idea.
Yeah.
But he took it way beyond there. And then he tries to, he spins the deck on,
Revolution,
it does Revolution. And then it overdid it, so now they're all spun out like spin art, and he has to correct that. And at the end, the pips all fall off; they become blank cards, and he kind of uses the deck as a vacuum and vacuums up all the pips, and it becomes the deck again.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, fun act.
By the way, at the beginning he was talking about. Remember that he didn't name it, but it's called "What's Next," where you have the card, you turn it over remember, and
that's his opening, and that's the payoff at the end where he produces a 3. But then there's a pip missing, and then he does the spot card. It's it's really funny. It's the 1, the 3, the 4, the 6. It was great. He was followed by Yannick Lacroix, our buddy from up here in Canada.
He has been spending some time learning English.
He sure has. His English is superb.
It is. I was telling people this is going to be in French.
And he grew hair. Yannick, for those who don't know, Yannick had a shaved head before it was fashionable. Yeah, but he decided to grow it out. Looked great. Had some really clever original magic, an international coin routine that's wonderful.
Very funny.
Signed card and microphone. A ring that appears on a borrowed ring that vanishes and appears on a chain around his neck. Just a really, really good act. It's good, solid material. He was followed by Magic Maxwell from Germany. This is a parlor act, a young teenage boy. I said I've got underwear older than him. Yeah. I mean, it's just, he's young. And he comes out, dressed like a kid, and he's getting ready to go to school in the morning. So all the stuff's on the table, he's packing up, and stuff just starts happening. And eggs just keep appearing. He looks at the egg, he throws it off stage, and that was the running bit. But he's doing magic with the stuff, his notebooks and, a pencil and this, and it was all very original, very clever magic.
And at the very end.
And the finish, oh my God. He takes an egg and just holds it and lets it go, and it just floats in the air. And then it moves.
And you're thinking it might be attached to something like glass.
Right, right. And then it moves across the table, floating in the air. And then he puts a glass over it, and it's floating in the air. And then he lifts the glass and runs a toothbrush back and forth on it. And he walks away from it, and it's not moving.
Right.
It's not like it's bobbing. It's not like it's hanging on a thread. It's just floating in the air.
Right.
He just got a great ovation.
And he starts to walk away, and then he comes back and he picks up the egg and decides, I think I will have breakfast after all.
Yeah. It's just terrific.
It was very well.
Terrific, yeah. Followed by a young Korean magician named Noah. This is a really nice artistic act. I would call it a surreal concept act. And, I talked to people about it. I loved it. It was a piece of square cardboard that becomes three-dimensional. And it's a number of objects that are two-dimensional become three-dimensional. And he turns into a cylinder, which he squishes and it becomes a ball.
Yes.
And then the ball appears and the cardboard turns into a box. And it's a lid. And there's just like some incredible visual transpositions. And then at the end, he's got this cardboard, and he takes a button off the shirt, puts it on it like a handle, and opens it up, and it's a trapdoor that he pulls a stairway out of.
Very Escher-like.
Oh, it was, and I love Escher.
Yeah.
But it was just this absolutely wonderful, surreal act. I really loved it. So, don't know if it'll place, but I'll tell you, very original, very artistic, and great thinking. Show was finished by Robin DeVille, who did an act that I can only describe as Jekyll and Hyde. But in the best possible way.
Red and blue.
Exactly. Yeah. Red and blue. He's got a flask of red and a flask of blue liquid. And when he drinks the red liquid, he turns into this wild, crazy, flamboyant character. And the blue character is very mild-mannered. And it was a card routine that fit the character beautifully. He had blank cards, and they print in red and blue. Because he's all in blue, he put in blue. And when he does the red liquid, now everything turns red.
Yep, including his tie turns red,
exactly.
And he's had a hat and his glasses and everything.
Yeah, so it's great. And the finish of the thing is the red guy takes over again, and it's a complete color change of the suit at the end. But it was great fun.
It was a lot of fun. The whole convention, I should say, the whole contest today has been a lot of fun.
Great day.
It was a great day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of it. Unfortunately, tomorrow I have to miss stage comp because I'm doing my lecture in the morning. And the next day I have to miss close-up comp because I'm doing my lecture again in the afternoon. So I'll have to get notes from you.
Okay. I'll try to keep a little bit. I don't keep as good a notes as you do. I'll see what I can do about that.
Good.
Well, Marc, thank you very much.
My
I
pleasure,
appreciate
Scotty.
it.
Always fun to be with you, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the week.
That's right. Until tomorrow with Marc. Now, we're still going to be talking with a lot more people here the rest of the day. This day isn't over, and the information that we're going to be presenting to you still is far from being over. But that's all for right now from the contest on this third day. Correct? The third day.
Third day.
That's right.
Second and a half.
Second and a half. We still have, another 3 full days of competition yet to go. That was Marc DeSouza. This is Scotty out. there are so many different registrants here. As we were discussing earlier, over 1,700 registrants this year at FISM. One of the people I ran into is someone who's a friend of the Magic Order, Chris Stoltz. Hey there, Chris.
Hi.
So glad that you came over and said hi. I mean, just kind of run into different people, and have you seen a lot of friends here as well?
It's kind of blowing my mind. Every time I come to the bottom of an elevator, there's somebody standing there. It's either a friend or a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came down and Jay Sankey and Michael Lamar were standing there. Mm-hmm. I walked around the corner, Jeff McBride was standing there.
Yeah.
And lost my mind.
You never know who you're going to run into or who's standing in the elevator, because everybody's somebody here.
The joke I keep making to my wife is that I'm going through adult diapers really fast this week as I see all my heroes in the hallway.
That is funny. So I assume this is your first FISM?
Yeah, this is FISM number 1. I was here for the North America last year and competed and had fun and made some friends there, but this is my first actual FISM.
And are you thinking about signing up then for the next one, which is going to be in Italy?
I'm working on something.
Okay.
I'm working on a little something, yeah. I was just chatting with my wife 5 minutes ago. We're probably going to grab our tickets this week for Italy, and then I may compete. We'll see.
And even if you don't compete, you think you might attend just because?
I'm going anyway because it's Italy and they have wine, so.
Well, I like your thinking. We might have to share a bottle together. I loved it when we were in Rimini back in 2017, I believe that was. And then we, of course, had to delay that due to COVID. But they were competing against China, and Italy won out, as I understand from the vote they had then yesterday. So that's why I'm excited. Yeah, we're going to be going there. Because we have been to Beijing. We've been to Busan, South Korea. So, and this is the first time in North America. And I don't know if I've reported this on the podcast here yet, but they have also put in a bid now for 2026, I believe it is. Or is that 25? 25 would be the next one? Is that right? This is 22. This will be 5 the next one in Las Vegas.
Oh, cool.
Sorry, not 5. Number 8, 2028.
Yeah.
Because 25 will be Italy. And so, and of course they vote on wherever it's going to be. And right now they're considering Las Vegas as being one of the locations for 28. How about that?
It's one of the magic capitals of the world these days, so I'm down. Yeah.
A lot of people from the U.S. would be attending that. So what have you seen so far that has really impressed you, or anything?
There's been a couple really good acts. Ding Yang was amazing on stage, and I've heard a lot about her.
Yeah.
I think it's the first time I ever saw somebody produce doves with their feet while hand balancing. I don't think that one comes around. Jim Steinmeier's lecture was phenomenal. Greg Fruins was really great this morning about owning a theater. And Greg's a friend, and so that was fun to kind of watch him break that down.
Right.
So,
because he's owned the theater for like 17 years.
Yeah, and it was great. He said, I'm going to talk you into it, and then I'm going to talk you out of it. Yeah,
it's kind of like buying a boat, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
What about close-up? Anybody that stands out of your
I can't remember his name. There was the guy who did, it was just a whole routine with 2 balls.
Yes.
A red ball and a white ball.
His name keeps coming up, and I should remember that myself.
It was elegant. It was simple. Everything he said was just beautiful.
Poetic.
Yeah, it was really nice. So,
what about the dealer's room? It's kind of a hybrid of a dealer's room. There are not as many dealers there this year for a variety of reasons of things that had happened.
Yeah.
It looked like they have room for a lot more. But anything that you bought or saw or something new? Or?
I just bought cards and stuff so far. Otherwise, I keep popping by Sean Farquhar because he's always doing something, and I think he must drink a lot of coffee because he's just always fun to watch. And Michel Haute from here.
Michel what? Yeah.
He is a creative genius, and so every time I walk by, he's doing something neat too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. A lot of stuff that's going on, and we've still got 3 more full days of competition and everything then too. So it's going to be fun. Chris, good seeing you again.
Yeah, you too.
And so until later, that's Chris Stoltz. This is Scotty out.